My name is Joseph Folonshaw, and this is your program, Safety and People's Rights. And today, just as it should be the third edition, if I'm not mistaken, yes, we'll be looking at issue relating to security matter, people's rights, and because as the security agency or policing agency is to protect life and property, and by that they equally need to protect life in all a chairman, Nigeria Association of Clinical Psychology, Lagos. Charles Ume is equally a therapist. Many times when we have issues relating to, especially later cognitive aspect of our life, you need to interact with him, you need to interface with him so that it will help you, or will help me to blow a lot of, tune down some of the, or help to repair some of the fugues. Doctor, there's no fuse in the brain, but we can say sometimes when just the fuse blow, you need someone to help you to correct some of all those things. Welcome to VOP 90.3.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure being here.
All right. Today we'll be looking at, they do say that sometimes Africa, if you want to hide anything from Africa, man, put it in the book. But I don't know how correct is that now. Today I want us to look at something that is very, very unique. Every one of us, there's no, even when you are coming here, there's no, between where you are coming to this place, you must see police on the road. We interface with them almost every time. This morning I was coming from Ikeja through Maryland, through Anthony. The VIO stopped me. They asked for my paper. And just how many, even where the VIO were checking my paper at that Anthony, when you are from Maryland coming to Oshodi, the police were seeing me. Immediately, I just want to accelerate. The police stopped me and say, "Where is your paper?" The same paper that the VIO check, they equally asked for those. So within that very place, I spent excess of almost 90 minutes just for them to check paper. And at the end of the day, I have to, the VIO person, I was trying to educate him. He was not willing to listen because I just see someone jump on the front of my car and I have to traffic gate and and I say, "Oga, this is a machine. What of? He said, it mean that you how will your brake not be in your car? How will you know who brake when you see an officer?" I think I saw you, but you are just flag me and I will still park for you to check me. But I'm just thinking that yes, you say they will castrate me or whatever. But if if you survive, well, you may not be like before again. Because of that, let's find a way to do this our work with a lot of senses. But that's not our conversation today. Today I want us to look at in the Police Act, which is part of the law, or the law that regulates the activities of police. I want to have a conversation with you on number 37 of the new Police Act. And let me just pick a go through so that we now have a conversation in that respect. Police Act 30. I say among many other things, but this one which is going to be area of our conversation, is a suspect shall be accorded human treatment. A suspect shall not be subjected to torture, cruelty, inhumane or degrading treatment. This is can I call it something like a code or a law, a constitution that will be guiding police activities? I know we have a lot of people that are listening to us. By the time we open the phone later, you will now see whether when you are being invited or arrested to any police formation, whether maybe they will show to you that they have this is part of their golden rules or regulation. Just like what I was telling you today. After the police checked me and they see that I have everything, Dr. Charles Ume, do you know common sorry for delaying you was not there?
Yeah.
How do we go about this? That is psychology.
Yes. I think it's a big issue in the country. Police and their modus operandi without recourse to the right of the common man. It's a big problem. And it occurs on a daily basis. And the funny thing is, like, even in the Constitution, it talks about torture. I think Section 34(1) talks about torture. And nobody pays attention to it because they are the law. They interpret it at the same time. And I think that is where people, because of fear, don't stand up to the right. Well, I think we are living with it. And just like so many things in the country, nobody seems to stand up for what is right. And a lot of Nigerians are always in a hurry.
They're always in a hurry, rushing to somewhere.
Yes. And in some cases, you see them offering bribe to the police when they could only stand there because they don't want to be stopped or delayed from getting to their appointment. But can all these things make it right? If you look at police training, some of these things are some of the content they go through. The interface between the civilians and the police, because they're the people that are serving. But what do we have? I think they seem to activate more the power they have over the people than to obey the right of the people they serve. Then that's where we should be looking at. Why are they doing that? And they're getting free. Scot-free, just like that. Can you, when you think your right has been trampled upon by the police, take them on? How many of us can do that? We're always in a hurry and we look for the easy way out. Even when the essence of our existence has been debased, we still seem to pretend as if not everything is right. It can never be right because you go in, take it in, and sooner or later it becomes a psychological issue to you dealing with
Police Act.
Yeah.
It's like the Bible of the police.
Yes.
You understand? If you look at all the provision there, it's almost sometimes they violate almost page from page 1 to the last page. Maybe it is possible that in the training school, in the police training school, they don't interface, they don't have this document. Or it is possible during the course of their work, none of them know they are so busy. It's like a pastor who doesn't just, who decide to just forget about the Bible, then just do whatever thing he or she decide to do any day. Or like an imam who did not even know, if you ask him which was the first page in Quran about it.
I don't think they don't know, because they have a curriculum they run in police college, and you'll be sure that some of these contents are all there. It's one thing to teach you something, it's another thing for you to be able to carry it out. I think they're two different things. Maybe we'll be looking at why is it that they are not carrying out what they have learned in the
Okay,
police
let's look
college.
at that. Why? Because another thing I want to add today, because I have a relative that was arrested at the Morocco police station a couple of weeks ago. In fact, the lady it's like he passed through hell. One, the cell was not, because when they say the constitution says everybody presume innocent.
Yes.
Until when maybe a court of competent jurisdiction say otherwise.
Convicted.
But if you arrested me, where you put me is not even it's not up to 1/4 of where I keep my dog in the house.
Yes.
Is that not a violation? First, a violation of, you already start the punishment already, because if you go through almost all the cell, all the police cell is a place of torture without beating. The environment is torture, and the act said that no suspect should be subject to any torture.
Good. Now the question is, do they interpret it as torture? Has anybody brought it to their notice that what they do there is torture? That's why I said we seem to take in so much without anybody asking any question about it. If you think you have been violated by being detained in an unsafe environment, like they say, he that wears the shoes knows where it pinches. And that is when you can take armed and begin to fight for what is right for you. But do we do that? Now, I think that's where investigative journalism comes in. For instance, somebody could go and cover some of these so-called detention cells or waiting trial cells and see whether it's good for human habitation. And then remember, this person has not been convicted of any crime. He's just a suspect. And you put him through such torture. Some people, after going through such experience, can never be the same again. How do they seek redress? What are we doing about it? Because these things are with us on a daily basis. The issue of being picked on the road and the next thing they throw you in and trump up charges against you. And you'll be defenseless. All in the sense of instilling fear in the mind of the populace whom they are supposed to what? Protect and defend. This is exactly where we should start from. Probably an assignment to some of the journalists. Let it go to some of these cells, bring it up. Then let's discuss it. And then people will start knowing what their rights are. And then let's look at what the law says about illegal detention. Because I think there's a place they say you cannot detain somebody for more than, was it 24, 48 hours?
Yeah.
What do we have? Go to even prisons. You have our waiting trials for years. I was reading an article and a few days ago that they were saying even for 34 naira or thereabout, some people have been in prison for 10 years. What are we saying about that? Remember, they have not been convicted awaiting trial. I think that is where our problem is. Can somebody bring out these things to the fore so that the society can interrogate it? And then we ask ourselves, can you build a society with this kind of practices?
No, Dr. Omer, some of these things have been coming up. I can still recall last year, May precisely, there is a late about, we started that case about, I think year 2020. Late May last year, this guy spent 5 years, 5 months at Kirikiri female prison. Okay. He was charged for murder. 2 years, they were not going to court. This lady did not go to court. And when we tracked that, followed that case, because we went to Kirikiri to go and assist someone to get it, he now pointed out the lady that this is the issue about the case about her name is Mary. And going through that matter, I was shocked that there was no police, did not have, there is no, yes, someone died, but there's no evidence connecting this lady to that murder. But she spent 5 years, 5 months until Justice Ken TB announced, because we have to, because the reason why he was not going to court, the police is looking for evidence in order to link this lady to the murder. You are the chairman of Nigeria Association of Clinical Psychology. What is your association doing about this kind of situation?
Now, if you look at such issues, first and foremost, it's legal. Now, but when it comes to the impact such incarceration is having on the victim, and that is where we come in, try to see how you can manage. But you can't manage it without addressing the cause, which obviously is a legal case. Now, the question is this: when, during the process of carrying out their duties, and police trample on the right of innocent citizens, is there anybody in the police stations all over the country that they can run to defend them? It's bringing an issue that I have been discussing with so many people for a long time. Why is it that when you go to the police station and think that things are not going right, you don't have any attorney to defend you or to complain? We will start looking into your case. Like the Mary you mentioned, if government has provided such attorney to defend the defenseless, or that will take up cases so that they can bring the police back to book when they are trying to err, when they are infringing on the right of the people. Because most people you see in the country today don't even know what their rights are. You are talking about how surprised you are. But that lady found herself there through a process. She might not know because she doesn't know what to do. She is a victim of the so-called police process in the country. Because the first thing they will ask you when they accost you and you ask them question, do you want to teach me my job? So what is the police job? Is it in the public space? So that everybody can know what the police job in this country is. So that when they are trespassing, you can easily call them. But then, like you're talking about, if you try to let them know that they don't know what they are doing, it becomes an issue. They torture you. They lock you up and say, yes, they will be the one, the judge, and whatever. In this
no, they have everything.
So that is the point. And one thing I found funny at that is that they have a way of defending themselves. Because I have been a victim. A police was lying in front of me. I told him that, oh, look at this. And it's a pure lie. This is just what happened. Another one that is nearby, not even eavesdropping, came to say, no, that is what the colleague said. Is that how the society, the public will trust them? These are the things. And I think the police need proper sanitation. I don't know how they're going to do that. Okay? So that they can win the trust of the public.
You know, when I came to Lagos, 1998 through 1999. In year 2000, I was in Lion B. That was the first time even entering the police, not to talk of a Lion building for, I think, about 4 days. Yes. They said they were looking for my uncle, which I was with him, and the guy traveled to Benin. I know now that we have a phone that you
can call.
You can call. And they did not say, okay, now that your uncle is not around, they are taking you, then they should trace you to Lion BD. I was in Lion BD for 4 days, and if not because of how I grew in the village, you can't force me to say something. I said, Uncle, sir, I don't know what you are saying. You understand? Intimidation, slapping, as if, oh, this is what you should say. So I know that we equally subscribe to a lot of United Nations code and conduct and convention and the rest of them. What do you think we can do for us to, apart from following our own code, which is the Police Act, equally follow some international best practice of investigation, whereby you don't subject an individual, which the Constitution said that proving is innocent until when a court or competent jurisdiction prove otherwise.
Yes. I think that calls for advocacy. I think the Advocates Sans Frontiers, I think I've worked with them briefly, and that is the kind of thing they do. That means more of such associations. We need them so that they can start bringing some of these aberrations in police practice to the fore, so that people begin to understand them. Now, the point is, you are not even looking at their brutality. You are not looking at their torture. What happens to the victim of this torture? That is where we come in. What happened to this victim? When you eventually discover that, oh, this person is innocent, you let the person go. What becomes of the person's life after that experience? Are they doing anything about it? I don't know whether you've seen people who were tortured. By the time they were released, they look like a shadow of themselves. And it's going to take them a long time to recover. Because some of them cannot afford fees of trauma experts who will help them come back easily. And the person who perpetrated this
is enjoying his life in his house. Yeah.
One way or the other. So what are we doing about it? Have we found police culpable for any of their crimes or these torture experiences? Has anything ever been done to bring them to book for torturing innocent persons? On a daily basis, we hear stories of people who are taken in for interrogation. Yes, we know that coercive interrogation has been a common practice over time But more developed countries like United States, like UK, have developed or have started moving away from that right from the 50s, 60s, 70s. And I'm sure that even in Nigeria, the police colleges are using the more subtle interrogation methods. But the point still remains that do they practice those things? You are not supposed to torture somebody to say something, because when you torture somebody to give you a confession, you are debasing the essence of that person's existence. And whatever that person is going to give to you, how true is that going to be? He's doing that to save his life. He might not, he can admit to anything because he needed to stay alive. And then you say you have obtained a confession and you go ahead and prosecute that person. Probably the jury will convict that person or the judge for offense he or she did not commit, but because he wanted to stay alive, he admitted. How many of such cases are with us today? So these are the areas I think the focus should be trying to do. If you need to get a confession, you aren't going to do it by force. And that is where the training of the police comes. They must devise more subtle ways of doing that. Like in the 70s, in North America, in America, even in Britain, they devised so many techniques like the RAID model, okay, which infuse a lot of psychological techniques, okay, in obtaining this information or confessions before prosecution. And it's one of the major ingredients they need, okay, in any court, a confession, evidence. Can you see? So these are the issues. But they rather go through the archaic method of maiming these people. Remember, they are still not convicted. They are still.
Yeah, said they are innocent.
They're still innocent.
Is that not deception?
That is it.
Because, for example, if we are saying, every day is everybody proven innocent until, but they arrested you, they more or less finish you. The punishment is even you see, even they even did it to former IGP. When they were arrested, Tafawa Balogun, then the security were drawing the guy from this. We're talking of IGP, person of that level, number one citizen of a police officer. You are arresting. You are so who am I? Joseph, who is
that is
nobody?
So eating out of their own poison. Can you see if they can do it and they go scot-free? Is anybody raising any eyebrow because of that? So that is exactly why they have the impetus to use that approach to get what they want, and nobody's questioning it.
Dr. Charles, many times coming to your office, and there's so many information that you are getting from someone, very, very wonderful information that will help to maybe provide intervention for such an individual without even shouting, which means that there are techniques for you to extract the confession from individual without shouting or beating. What do you think we can do that our Nigeria police should be able to benefit from this and say, do you know what? You come to the police, you stay in a decent place. Look at the Metropolitan Police. Yes, sir, before the person know, he find himself in prison.
Yes.
But in our own case, in fact, if it's 10 minutes, 20 minutes, the person physical whatever is changing, and in the name of you must say what you know about this case. What's the way out?
First, the training.
But they have been trained. They are training them every day.
It's not about. So what are they training them on? Let's review their police curriculum, their training, and let's relate it with the modern techniques. Compare them what is obtained outside the country. Then let there be monitoring. If I train you, give you all the best technique, and you go out there and you don't execute it, have you not been trained? Now, is there any way to monitor how whatever you put in them is being utilized? You don't just train people. You monitor to see whether your training is impacting. That is one way. Okay? And a point to what I'm saying is this. Are the police not trained that it's not decent for them to be on any psychiatric substance use while on duty?
No, that one is. I see.
No, I'm only giving you.
No, I know.
instances.
I was in a barrack where they sell. Was it about how many months this year? Very early in the morning, I was trying to do some photocopy some document. I think around 10. I saw this guy already finished 4 green bottles,
Okay.
and he's on uniform.
Are they not trained? It's part of their training to use psychotic substances while on duty, while on uniform. You could see the point I'm trying to make. It's not about what is impacted in them. How do they make use of all these things? That is where the problem lies. Who monitors whether they're doing good or not? Now, what happens if any of them is caught doing something he's not supposed to do, so that he can act as a deterrent to others? So there are so many things that are wrong. You can only give what you have.
What is the way forward? Because we can't continue this way, Dr. Charles.
Yes.
Because police, especially in the democratic system, the police is very, very key. They are like the alpha and the omega to manage our behavior in a democratic system.
Yeah.
If there's a gap in their own behavior, then it means that we, the citizens, we are in deep trouble. What's the way out?
Good. First, awareness. The police are to serve the masses, not the other way around. Without the masses, there won't be the police. I hope you know that. Good. Now, when you are the one killing the people you are supposed to serve, the people will rise up. They can only rise up if they are aware that what you are doing, you're not supposed to do it. So, if we create more awareness on the right of the citizens and how they can defend themselves, by the time they are taken to court, the police, instead of doing their job, they are going to defend themselves in the court.
Okay, for the action. Why? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Then they will think, okay, why are we spending money doing this instead of training our people to do the right thing? So they put measures in place to discipline their personnel. So that if you go out there and commit any error while on duty, the burden is on you. They take you to the gallows. You know that? We know the implication of that. It becomes a deterrent to the next man watching. And let there be no sacred cows in the order of events. Yeah, the police can carve a niche for themselves. It's all about talking to the rank and file and letting them know that, here, this is what is obtained. If you can't, move out. No sacred cows anymore. That way, the discipline, sanity will begin to crop in. Like in our practice, I was telling some of my students, very soon you start having litigation like you have it in the States or United Kingdom. If there is any element of malpractice, you didn't follow proper procedure, they will sue you. By the time for any malpractice, you pay so much for it, you sit up. If you don't have the ability, you go and learn by yourself so that you don't end up paying all whatever you earn as legal fees. Can I say? So people are now forced to sit up to do the right thing, knowing that there will be consequences for any malpractice.
Now, the other day, last week, I have Associate Professor Waziri Adisa on your side, he's expert in police, and I was asking him this, which I want to ask you too. If you go to every police formation, and I believe that you will be the best person to actually analyze and tell us this, police is your friend.
Okay.
You are a psychologist. Everywhere boldly written, police is your friend. Then you look at that, you now look at the environment. How do we push it to every home that, yes, police is your friend? I've written everywhere in the police station.
It's not about what you say. It's about how people you say it to understand it and interpret it. Yeah. police is your friend is just a written expression. Now, if you want to know if police is your friend, go out there and ask one or two persons, or the first 10 person you ask, is police your friend? That is where the answer is. Now, how will police be your friend? By your behavior, by how people relate with you, by how people see you. It's not by you writing. The writing is just an expression that is meaningless, except when translated into what? Behavior. How do you treat your friend? Why do you call Mr. A your friend and not Mr. B? Is it by writing that Mr. A is my friend on your forehead? Is it not through your behavior? That is how.
Let me find out this one from you. If you go to any police formation, because I go to police every day, occasion by work here. There was time I was summoned to Force Headquarters Abuja where we did one case, and the guy was, and the first thing was they tell me to drop all my phone, and I was begging them. Okay, I decided I will drop my phone. I have my media as a journalist. I say, what of my recorder? They say, no, you must drop it. That no recording, no phone is allowed. I say, you are as good at disarming me, and I can't use the.
That is bastardized. Does it work? And that is why I keep emphasizing that you don't need to launder your image if you are doing the right thing, because your actions are speaking for you. It's just as a journalist, you work with what? Others' phones or recorder, right? And then due to procedural issues, they say, okay, don't do this, don't do that. But if they are genuinely doing your work, don't you think they want the public to know what they are doing? Don't you think they...
Because when you came here, you asked your guy, you want to put your phone in silent, or you decide because exactly. We showed that we're on the same page.
Exactly.
So, but I would have tell you from down there, security, drop your phone with the security.
Then my mind is telling me, okay, could what these people doing here be genuine? Can you see? So you have triggered what? Doubt in the mind of
your friend.
Yes. Even before he gets closer to you. The law will tell you, he that comes to equity,
come with a clean hand.
Should come with a clean hand. Now, when you go to the police or they are coming to you, are they coming with clean hand? These are issues we need to pay attention to. So, when they tell you about image, they have all the right to launder their image. But the point is, when a calabash is broken, you cannot mend it easily. So, for them to win the trust of the people, they have to go back to square one to win the heart of these people by their acts, by their practices, by their processes. Let it be very open. Let it be very sincere, so that anybody can tell you that I can easily go to the police station and this is what I'm going to get.
Well, I'm going to open the phone, but not until when we do this. We've been interacting with Dr. Charles Umeh. He's a clinical psychologist, and many times, which I'm going to ask you, a lot of people that are being rescued, survivor of kidnapper, you interact with them in order to debrief them, and
yes, in
order to see how you can bring them back close to that gaudy situation, whatever, and the rest of them. From some of, we don't need name, your interaction with some of your clients on people who survive kidnapping, who survive torture.
Yes.
What are the lessons, would be your message to Nigeria as a nation on what some Nigerians are passing through?
It's a lot emotionally. Some of them go through depression. Some of them go through what we call post-traumatic stress disorder. Some of them have anxiety issue. Some of their academics, the younger ones, have been disturbed. And their reasoning has been altered based on some of the experiences they have had. And a lot of them are living with it without seeking professional help. And it's going to impact on them, on their everyday life situation. The few of them that we are managing, those are the ones that know the importance of going for.
Some may know the important, they may not have the means, or
Yes.
may know the money. Look at the 20 doctors that were rescued. Look at the way they were released. I was asking, I watched on TV. These are guys that are supposed to interface with people like you in civilized country before you allow them to. It's just like people, our brothers, are gallant soldiers. They go to the war, then they just come back, mix with every one of us, and before you know what's there's a lot of bullies everywhere.
Exactly. These are some of the problems associated with trauma that is not managed. Okay? A lot of them end up becoming alcoholics or drug users. A lot of them
Just like a coping, just to
a
cope.
coping mechanism. A lot of people don't understand what they go through because they say, "What is it? Why is it acting like this?" They don't understand. So that's why there must be concerted effort. Now, with this going business of kidnapping trauma, in the next 10 years, the society is going to start feeling the impact because post-traumatic stress disorder can happen 10, 20 years after the incident had occurred. So, but if intervention is instituted, people can now learn to live with it without becoming mentally disordered. Can you see the point? So, now who is going to bury the cat? The family is more interested in having their person back. And the first thing they do is they rush the person to the hospital. And in the hospital, they check for physical damage.
Nobody check.
If there is no
emotional-
physical damage,
They'll thank God.
they are discharged. But they don't know that these mental health issues can come with time. And that is after the physical examination, that is when you refer for psychological assessment and intervention. And then they monitor the person for a period of time to know whether he will come down with any of this. Okay? And then handle it. And then teach them or build certain level of resilience in them going forward so that they can be able to cope with the exigencies of their existence henceforth. Now, the worst is this: such persons become very vulnerable to other stresses, and they will break down easily because their initial trauma has not been managed. So this new stress is building on that to cause more damage in their life.
Wow. We're still with Dr. Charles Sume. He's a clinical psychologist. He's equally a fellow and the chairman of Nigeria Association of Clinical Psychology, Lagos. You can join the conversation by calling us on 07009 03903903 or 08171756338 is the number to call. As we wait for that call, I was in Ogba Court about 2 weeks ago, but I go to court just to make sure the occasion by a job. You need to see. A guy was brought to the court and was released. The guy just walked toward me and said, "Please, sir, can I get transport to Agege? I'm going to Agege." They just released me. When you see this guy from head to toe, and he says he's coming from correctional center, I am trying to find out the meaning in dictionary what I mean by correction. Dr. Charles, what can we do that when our people are will I call it incarceration? No. I think in Sweden, Finland, who now convert their prison to factory, they don't use the word incarceration. I'm trying to when we're doing some comparative education, I will think I will remember the word that going to prison is not like a punishment. It's just for you to reevaluate yourself and become reform. But Nigeria owned is close to like something like close to D, then the form. So you can join the conversation 070 0903 907 903903 or 081 7175 6368 is the number to call. What do you think we can do? Someone that is, you just release someone and none of his family member were there, and why do we treat our citizen the way this way? Let me put it that way.
Now the issue is this: the people that are releasing him from the correctional, do they have this person's data?
I mean, they took him to court, and the court feel that this guy should be released. And because I was asking, he said because the police that brought him to court never show up again.
Okay, so where was he held? In prison? The correctional
yes, I'll be in correctional center.
And they should have this person's information, right?
Mm.
They should have next of kin and co, right?
Yeah.
Now, they were the one that brought him to court. It behoves on them to say, call the relations. Okay, so and so has been what?
I don't know how we call. Yeah. Hello, good morning. Good afternoon, sorry. Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon to your guest, Emeka speaking from Apapa.
Okay, Emeka.
I've been listening to your conversation, okay?
Yeah.
I am not a policeman. None of my family members work with the police, okay? Do you know Nigerian police force? I rate them among Nigerian best profession. Do you know that?
Go on.
I rate them among Nigerian best profession. See, the way police work in Anambra is not the same way they work in Lagos State, not the same way they work in Sokoto State. Police work based on the character of people in the domain where they exist. You understand me? The day we Nigerians sit up and start doing what they should. Nigerian police force is the only government profession you can correct properly for them to be behaving well. But it's because of our docility. We use prayer to deceive us, keep on deceiving ourselves. If we sit up and start doing what we should, you see that the police will start behaving very well. But we are citizens, Nigerian citizens, we are number one problem before police and our politicians, because we vote for criminals whom their agents are giving us money. So we are number one problem of Nigeria. We need total reorientation before our useless prayer will start to work. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for joining us from I think he just said we should reduce our prayer. Let's be practical here.
Okay. It would have been nice if he had given us what instances. Okay, so that we can work with what he has observed, you know, and then we'll be able to analyze it in context. Okay.
So, Dr. Sir, because we know time is always one of our enemies. Okay, let's just 30 seconds. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Biodun, and your guest.
Good afternoon. This is Joseph.
Yeah.
And I have Dr. Charles
Joseph,
with us.
Joseph.
Yeah.
Sorry, please. My name is Peter Usifu. I'm calling from Abaranja in Ikotu.
Okay, fire on Peter, 30 seconds.
I want to ask your guest a question. Is there any difference between torture and threat? That is, for instance, when somebody tells you, I will deal with you.
Okay.
Is it torturing you, or when the policeman probably comes to arrest and says, when we get to the office, I will deal with you. Or sees you and says, I will deal with you our way. You don't know who I am, such a thing. Is it equivalent to torture?
Okay.
Torture.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you very much for that question. Now, let me explain it this way. Torture is anything that is capable of causing you pain. It could be physical. It could be psychological.
It could be social self.
If I threaten you and you take it with deep emotion,
That's torture.
I've tortured you.
Wow.
It's psychological torture. If, for instance, your wife deprives you of your dinner simply because you didn't do something she wanted you to do, she's torturing you. Now, if another person slaps you and all these things cause you deep emotions, you are being tortured. Now, there is a way, like the police, Now, when you do it because you wanted to obtain an information, okay, that is the angle that we look at police torture from. But anything that is capable of causing you deep expressed emotion, the negative emotion though, then it touches you.
Okay, that's how we are going to end today's show. You just use, let me say, 10-second talk to our wonderful Nigeria police, gallant Nigeria police. How do we reduce this torture? Not in the name of extracting information from a suspect.
Yes, like Emeka said, that the police are organized. We know they're organized, but we are saying they could be better in terms of the training and the way they carry out their activities. Because the same place, when they go on external duties, they seem to do
come out
well
the best.
because the environment there is conducive. Maybe if that angle Emeka is looking at it, I'll say yes, we have the personnel, but when they come into this enclave called Nigeria, we want them to replicate same, and that way they can launder their images better to the public. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Dr. Charles Sumede. As a fellow and chairman of Nigeria Association of Clinical Psychologists, equally a lecturer. I lecture me in uni psychology, and it's equally in Lut. So I think you can find you on Facebook and hit around with them. Sometimes when people have issue, God forbid kidnapping. So. But these are some therapies and expert in terms of providing therapy for people who survivor of any. Thank you very much for joining us, and I hope when we invite you again, it's going to be yes or yes.
Thank you for having me today. I'll always be available when needed.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Joseph Olorenshaw, and remember the show just security and people's right. They come to you on 90.3 VOP every Wednesday, 1 to 2 p.m. Thank you very much. We'll be here again by special grace of God next week Wednesday with another wonderful, wonderful Nigeria special guest. Thank you very much, Dr. Charles Sumede, for joining us. And thank you for listening to us. God bless you.